This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, so tonight is the 9th of Tishrei. And the 9th of Tishrei, even though it's not Yom Kippur, but we find certain halachos that apply that are like Yom Kippur. Just to name a few of these halachos. First of all, there is a mitzvah d'oraisa of Tosefes Yom Kippurim legabe the Inoi. In other words, let's say the fast starts tomorrow. I forgot what time it starts. What time is it? 6:06? I don't know. 6:03. It depends what watch you use, what clock you use, But if you eat up to, you're over a d'oraisa. You have to be moisef on the Inoi. Now, Malacha, you don't have to be moisef midaraisa, only midrabanan. But the ino, you have to be moisef d'oraisa. So what's the Indian? We don't find such a thing by other Yom Tovim that you're moisef midaraisa on the mitzvahs of the Yom Tov. Secondly, the shita of the Ramban is, you must say vidoy before Yom Kippur. It's not enough just to say vidoy tomorrow night and shachris. You must say vidoy before Yom Kippur, namely by mincha. So the shaila is, why is there this mitzvah that I have to say vidoy before the day? It's not the day yet. You don't have to lay Megillas Esther before Purim. I don't have to light the menorah before Chanukah. I don't have to eat cheesecake before Shavuos. Why do I need to say vidoy before Yom Kippur? So there is a svara, lefnei Hashem titaru, that before the day comes I want to be matar myself. But there's also a question. And also, stam, the day itself is like a dichotomy, because on the one hand you have a mitzvah to eat, but midoraisa you need to be ma'ana yourself at the end of the day. So it's like chatzi lachem v'chatzi lashem. In the beginning of the day you have to eat. At the end of the day you're not allowed to eat. It's like the only day on the whole calendar. It's not a mitzvah to eat the whole day. It's not a mitzvah to fast the whole day. You have to eat and you have to fast. So the Shas Hatshuva is Binyan Shloimeh, Rav Shlomo HaKohen Vilna, the author of the Cheshek Shlomo and Shas. He quotes the Gra on Seder Olam. The Gra on Seder Olam says like this: I want to thank my friend in France, Rabbi Rafal Ansel. He sent me this Binyan Shloimeh. It's in the newer editions of Binyan Shloimeh. It's Chelek Aleph Siman Samach Aleph. The Seder Olam, which is a brisa about the history of the world, says on the 7th day, Moshe went up to the mountain. On the 17th of Tammuz, he came down, he broke the luchos, he went back up on the 18th of Tammuz, he came back down on the 28th of Av, and he went back up on the 29th of Av, and he came down on the 10th of Tishrei, and he told them that Hashem forgave them. Says the Gra. When did Hashem forgive Klal Yisrael? Did Hashem forgive Klal Yisrael on the 10th? In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu was coming down on the 10th. Did Hashem whisper in Moshe's ear on the 10th, by the way, Moshe, I forgave Klal Yisrael? No. Hashem forgave us on the 9th. But Moshe couldn't come down yet because he needs 40 full days. So the Ritzui really occurred on the 9th. It's just he didn't relay it until the 10th. That's the Chiddush of the Gra. That Moshe Rabbeinu came down on Yom Kippur b'hashkama, and therefore the 10th day of Tishrei was enacted as a Shas Ratzain, because on that day Moshe told us Rivan Hashem was nisratza to us. But if you want to know when the Ritzoi occurred, it occurred on the 9th. So it says Rav Shlomo HaKohen Vilna, from here we see on the 3rd paragraph, he says on the right hand side that Hashem was really miratza us on Erev Yom Kippur. But because the 40 days wasn't up, therefore the 40th day, Yom Kippur, was established as a day of Slicha v'Kapara. Another Chiddush of the Gaon. In other words, Moshe came down with the luchos on Yom Kippur, but when did God give Moshe the luchos? Erev Yom Kippur. The Torah wasn't given to Moshe on Yom Kippur. It was given to Moshe Erev Yom Kippur. Moshe came and he waited. He couldn't come down on Erev Yom Kippur because it wasn't 40 full days. But the Torah was given on Erev Yom Kippur. The Ritzoi happened on Erev Yom Kippur. But Moshe came down on Yom Kippur. Says Rav Shlomo HaKohen Vilna, this answers like any kasha you could possibly have on Yom Kippur and Erev Yom Kippur. He says, first of all, you could give a beautiful reason. The Shita, the Rambam, quoted by the Maggid Mishnah, Tosefes Shabbos and Yom Tov, and even Tosefes Yom Kippurim is only D'Rabbanan. Now you got to do it. We do D'Rabbanans. We Orthodox Jews, we listen to the rabbis. By the way, how do you do Tosefes Shabbos? The best way to do Tosefes Shabbos is you want to daven at a minyan that you finish your silent Shemona Esrei at least 2 minutes before Shkia. Because a lot of the minyanim, Mincha is 8 minutes before Shkia, and they say Haidu, and they say Ashrei. and they say Shemona Esrei, and you finish the Shtil Shemona Esrei after Shkia, there's no Tosefes Shabbos. So you daven over here, and we finish 30 seconds before Shkia, and then you say, I am makabel upon myself Kedusha Shabbos. And then you're Mekayim Tosefes Shabbos. But it's only D'Rabbanan. Even on Shabbos, it's only D'Rabbanan. But, and even on Yom Kippur, Le'inyan Melacha, it's D'Rabbanan. But Lagabi Inoi, the Rambam holds Tosefes Inoi v'Nisam es nafshei sechem Batisha lachodesh ba'erev, because it's a pasuk in the Chumash. You got to do Inoi on the 9th. What pasuk? V'Nisam es nafshei sechem. What's the pshat? Why Malacha is only Tosefes D'Rabbanan? Be it Shabbos, be it Yom Kippur, and Tosefes Inoi is D'Oraisa. Why? Why is Tosefes Inoi D'Oraisa? Says Rav Shlomo Kohen Vilna, according to the Gra, it's beautiful. Because the truth is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was Meratzeh to Klal Yisrael on Erev Yom Kippur. And the Luchos were Be'ikr given on Erev Yom Kippur. But the 9th day was not established as Yom Kippur because it was not the full 40 days were not up. But on the 10th day of Yom Kippur is Kuloi Ritzoi. The 9th day of Yom Kippur is part of the day was Ritzoi. In other words, if you wanted to know when was Hashem Nisra, when were we Nisratzeh to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? In the middle of the 9th. But we're not going to establish the 9th as a day of fasting because we didn't have a full 24-hour day that Hashem was appeased by us. But on the 10th of Tishrei, it's Kulai Ritzah, and therefore we fast the whole day. But that's the pshat. When the Torah talks about the Inoi, it says, V'Inisem es nafshei sechem batisha lachodesh. So, it's a big kasha. What do you mean you should afflict yourself on the 9th? Why do you have to afflict yourself on the 9th? What happened on the 9th? Nothing happened on the 9th. We eat all day on the 9th. No, the answer is we eat part of the day on the 9th. But part of the day we afflict ourselves, Midairaisa, because that's the day HaKadosh Baruch Hu we were Nisratzah to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, there is a kviyas of Tosefes, Minat Torah, only Lagabe Inoi. Because the Inoi is connected to the Slichul Mechila. The Malacha is connected to Kedushas Hayom. In other words, the Kedushas Hayom is only on the 10th. But the Inoi, the fasting, is connected to the Ritzoi, and the Ritzoi was on the 9th as well. He says according to this. So firstly, this Chiddush explains why there's a mitzvah d'oraisa of Tosefes Inoi on the 9th. Number 2, it explains as follows. The Ramban holds that there's a mitzvah to say Vidoy and Erev Yom Kippur close to dark, close to Marav, not just in Marav, close to Marav. Besides the Vidoy of Marav, you have to say Vidoy according to Ramban close about Mincha time. What we do? Why? Why should we say Vidoy Mincha time? The same answer. Because the Ritzoi occurred on the 9th as well. But Moshe didn't relay the information until the 10th. That's the second thing it explains. The third thing it explains. Why do we eat on Erev Yom Kippur? So the Pashup Pshat is because if you didn't, it's going to be a mighty long fast. But besides that, Rabbeinu Yonah says 3 reasons why if you eat on Erev Yom Kippur, it's like fasting 2 days. Number 1, there are many lavin. A lav, you can't knock off a lav with tshuva alone. You need Yom Kippur. So we eat on Erev Yom Kippur as an expression of simcha, that we're happy Yom Kippur has come and we could cleanse ourselves from lavin. Furthermore, Rabbeinu Yonah writes that like every mitzvah, you have to do a mitzvah b'simcha. So every Yom Tov we have a Suda. So we should really have a Suda on Yom Kippur. The problem is, there's one problem with having a Suda on Yom Kippur, and that is you're not to eat on Yom Kippur. So we can't have a Suda on Yom Kippur, we show the Simcha Erev Yom Kippur. And the third answer is, if you eat on Erev Yom Kippur, you'll fast twice as well on Yom Kippur. But if you don't eat on Erev Yom Kippur, it's going to be much harder to fast on Yom Kippur. So that's a big chiddush. It's a good thing you came here tonight. Everybody should now knows they have to eat tomorrow. But, says Cheshek Shloimeh, the reason why there's a mitzvah to eat on the 9th is why? Because it's a very happy day. Why is it a happy day? It's the day where the Torah was given. On the other hand, it's also a day of fasting, because that's the day we were Nisratzeh to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the 9th is really a day of great dichotomy. On the one hand, it's the day of Kabbalah HaTorah, so we celebrate and we enjoy the day by eating. So that's another reason to eat. By the way, Pinchas Karatzer says that the reason to eat on Erev Yom Kippur is that everything in this world needs a transitional period. So Yom Kippur is like Olam Haba. It's a day out of Olam Haba, in by Achila, in by Shtia, and it comes down to this world. It's like Olam Haba comes down to this world. And the first 9 days are like Olam Hazeh, first 9 days of Tishrei. The first 8 days of Tishrei. And the 9th day is the in-between. So the 9th day, Rabbi Pinchas Karatzer says, is like Sudas Leviasan. Anyway, be it as it may, so that's a reason why we have a mitzvah to eat on Erev Yom Kippur, because that's the day the Torah was given. So here this uncovers for us a tremendous dimension of the 9th day of Tishrei. Namely, it is Be'ikr, the day that we were Nisrat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's the day of the Nesinas Haluchos. However, it was not Nikma because it was not a full 24-hour period. Only Yom Kippur is a full 24-hour period. But still, a lot of the great power of Yom Kippur also exists on Erev Yom Kippur. And therefore, it's a day that we could accomplish a great deal, Slicha v'Chapara, and it's a day of happiness because it's a day of Kabbalah Torah. So wishing everyone an easy tainus, and we should be zoicha to Slicha, Mechila, Kapara, and Shana Tova Lanu L'Chol Yisrael. Amen.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.